I appreciate the opportunity to come speak to you today, and obviously one of the questions it seems like everybody was discussing as they were coming in was, do we need to turn our cell phones off, or how can we go through this time together without looking at our phone? If you need to look at your phone, that's okay. It's not going to offend me. I've got mine running, but I actually have a timer on mine. This is the first time as a preacher in a long time that somebody said, hey, you've got 45 minutes, because my congregation would never say that. I usually give myself 25 minutes. I've only done that in the last 3 or 4 years, but I've been really big on trying to cut sermons down to about 25 minutes. It usually goes 30, but that keeps me on task. So my clock is running and my phone is on, and it's for that purpose, and I'll try to do my best to stay with you on that. So it is finals time here at Mississippi State, and so I wanted to give you a test. Maybe some of you are faculty members, or you're teaching a class, or you're grading for a class, and so you've got finals coming up, and I want to give you a final exam. It's got 2 sections. We're going to do section 1 now, and then we will do section 2 a little bit later. So here's kind of what it's going to look like. Here are your instructions. You're going to have an opportunity to view some images or photos. They're going to stay up there about 15 seconds. And on that little one single side sheet that I gave you, you've got an opportunity to mark the appropriate response when you see the image. And here are your choices. And so we want to just let you kind of get those in mind before we start. If you see the image and you feel stressed, you can mark that particular location. If you feel dread, that would be an appropriate response. You might see an image and say, boy, that's just a time waster in my life. Now think about it for yourself. Don't think about it for your neighbor. Don't bump somebody in the middle of this and go, that's for you. And then if it makes you feel really refreshed, then you can mark that response. So here are the images. We'll take about 10, 15 seconds, let you look at it, mark your response, and then we'll talk about it after we look at these images. So here they go. This is section 1. Inbox. Yeah, if you want to mark more than one, you're welcome to do that. I think it was Stephen Green who said to me coming in, I've got messages I need to check, but I'm going to try to hold off until we finish. So there's the first image. All right, podcast. Podcast. All right, text messaging. Now be honest with yourself on these. If you like text messaging, that's okay. You can mark refreshed. You might enjoy that. Facebook. Just phone calls in general. If somebody gets a phone call during this time, if you need to step out, it's going to be okay. Netflix. And the final one, Twitter. Is that 7? Maybe did I miss one? Oh, there it is. Just Google search, just like internet searches all the time. Thank you for your clarification. All right, let's talk about it. So, tell me which one made you feel most stressed? Anybody? Email. Why email? I'm just curious about that.
Because it was the number of emails.
You need to respond, okay? Because your job is demanding that, okay? Anybody else got something different for the one that stresses you the most?
Phone call. I'd rather email or text. I can't stand it.
Okay, I appreciate that. Don't want to talk on the phone, all right? What about dread? Any of them you dread? Don't dread any of those? Okay. What about time wasters? Facebook. Facebook. Twitter. Twitter's a waste, okay. Anybody have one that refreshed you? If you did, it's okay. You can be honest. It's all right.
Text message, and it depends on who it's from.
Text message
Depends on who it's from.
Depends on who it's from. That's a good response. Okay. Very good. It
And that,
could be, yeah, it could be a friend or a family member calling. Yeah, there you go. If it's your grandchild FaceTime you, maybe that's a.
I like to Google things all the time, so that was refreshing to me.
Okay,
to Google
all right,
things.
okay. Nothing wrong with that. Just wanted you to kind of think about all these things. Here's my thing that I think, and I think you'll agree with me. This is not rocket science. Obviously, we're not in the aerospace division here, so we're plugged into our world, but disconnected from our souls. And I'm not trying to speak about spiritual things. I am a pastor, and I'm not trying to go there right now. I'm just saying I think because of the social media environment that we live in, we know everything about our world. I mean, everybody at Mississippi State's been watching their phones and the information chain the last 48 hours trying to figure out what's happening. And so we're very connected in finding out the latest bits of information, but are we content in our soul with what's going on in our lives and with how things are going at work? And those are the things that I just want us to think about today. And so my question is like, is there any hope for us that we can somehow reconnect with our souls, even as we stay connected with our world? I don't think we can detach ourselves from our phones and all the other stuff that we have. So we've got to find a way to get back to what is most important to us in our soul. And so I'm asking myself, is there any hope? And I just want to go to a little bit of ancient Jewish wisdom. And here it is. And it's just a few words. I'm not even going to give you the whole thing. I just want to just kind of focus on the first part. Be still and know. Now, among the Jewish people, the Old Testament's their primary text, and so there are several books in the middle, like Proverbs and Psalms and Song of Solomon, Ecclesiastes. Those are considered the wisdom literature. And so here's a section that comes out of the wisdom literature, just be still and know. And here's what I want to show you about that. We're going to talk first about being still, because that's hard for us, to learn how to be still. And then later we'll talk about what we're going to know when we do learn how to be still. And I just want to encourage you more than anything else, because I know you're busy people and you got a lot of things going on, and I just want to encourage you more than anything else. And so here's how we can learn to be still. I'm just going to give you some practical tips. And the first one is you need to plan a refreshing snack every day. Rather than start with the negative, let's start with the positive. What is something that refreshes you? Anybody? Like in the middle of the day, what's going to refresh you? What is it, Lee?
Grapes.
Grapes, okay. Grapes. Anybody else?
I'll go with grapes.
You'll go with grapes?
Yeah.
Okay. Anybody else got something that refreshes you? It doesn't even have to be food. It can just be anything.
Mine's hot tea and walking my dogs.
Walking your dogs. Okay, that's great. All right. Anybody else got something?
I like Nutrageous and a Coca-Cola.
Oh, nice, nice. So here's where I think we make our big mistake. A lot of us know what refreshes us, but it's the last thing that we do in our schedule. And I want to encourage you maybe this next few days to work on making something, putting something refreshing into your schedule every day. So that if it's not more than 5 or 10 minutes or 15 minutes, you can just refresh yourself in the midst of a crazy, chaotic moment at Mississippi State. So here's how it works. This is my family. I just want to show you a picture of my family real quick. We had this picture made over the weekend on Friday because my mom and dad celebrated their 50th wedding anniversary. So my mom hired a professional photographer. We had to go back to Madison and get our picture made in front of this church out there in this new community that's developing right outside of Madison. And so while the professional photographer was doing other pictures, my brother-in-law made this picture of our family. I think it's better than the professional photographer. We won't get into that today. So anyway, and so here's my family, and that's our youngest daughter standing there by me. And she loves to take fruit as a snack in her lunch. Now my son, if we go back to him, he eats in the cafeteria. He goes to Starkville High School. They've got a lot of choices in the cafeteria. He absolutely eats everything in sight, and I think he eats other people's food as well. But Clancy likes to eat fruit. But here's the problem. She'll say to me, Dad, when you run by the store on the way home, would you buy me some fruit? And I'll say, I'll be glad to, Clancy, but are you going to wash it and get it ready so it can go in your lunchbox this week? Oh, yeah, Dad, I'm going to do it. So I cannot tell you how much fruit I bought this year, blueberries and strawberries and grapes, and they have rotted in our refrigerator because she refuses to prepare them in advance. And then she wakes up too late to have time to prepare them like she needs to, and then they end up rotting. And you know what I say to her? We're wasting money. Like, we're wasting money. So you can't go to Chick-fil-A when we go next week. You're going to have to stay at home. And no, I'm just picking. We don't do that. But anyway, I just wanted you to stay with me on this. And so that's why I wanted to say to you, if you've got something that encourages you, and you know it, go ahead and prepare that. Go ahead and stick that into your schedule, even if it's 5 minutes in your day, something that can refresh your soul where you're just still and you gather yourself and you get it all together before that next round of people walks in your office and drives you crazy. That would be my encouragement to you. It could be doing a crossword puzzle for 5 minutes. That's very simple. It could be reading a book. It could be going for a short walk. Some of them you may have to do after work, like walking your dogs. You obviously can't do that here at the school, but you can do that as soon as you get home and just take 5 or 6 minutes and get still and do something you like to do. It could be eating a Reese's peanut butter bar. I mean, that's my favorite candy of all, is Reese's. In fact, I want to encourage you guys, so I brought some candy for you. And if you'll just pass that around, you can have a snack. So, you can have a snack, and this will be your refreshing moment for today. You can be still and enjoy and have a few snacks. You can have more than one piece. There's like enough for you to get 2 or 3 pieces, all right? So that's the first way to be still. Here's the second one. What about if we decide to establish some social media time zones? And here's what I mean by that. Maybe rather than having Twitter come in all day or emails come in all day, just designate some times in your schedule where you're going to do that, where you're going to be social media savvy for an hour. But outside of that hour, the other hours on each side, you're not going to do anything social media-wise. You're going to actually schedule when you do that. Now, this summer, I had the chance to go to Romania. It's my first time to go to Europe, and we were there for about 8 or 10 days. And we were 8 hours away from the United States time zone that we live in here in Starkville, Mississippi. And I was there for that 8 or 10 days, and so trying to figure out how to sleep and get up at the right times was kind of crazy. And I figured out about time zones for the first time in my life, and I figured out what jet lag was about when I came back home. And so in the same way, like time zones have specific divisions, maybe in your schedule, to help yourself so that you're not overwhelmed and you have chances to be still and really focus on what's most important, you could say, hey, from 2 to 3 in the afternoon, I'm going to check all my emails. I'm going to catch up on the news real quick while I'm in the midst of this. And then, from 12 to 2, I'm not going to check social media. I'm not going to answer email. And then once I get from 2 to 3, I'm going to go back to work and focus on some real important things from 3 to 5. But I've got a time zone that I'm committing to social media. And outside of that today, I've got to stay focused on what's really important to get the task done. And I have to do that for myself sometimes. It's just say, okay, today I'm only going to answer email from 10 to 10:30, and I'm going to do it again from 4:30 to 5, and the rest of the day I'm not going to fool with it because I can't do that and get the other things done that I need to do. And so that's what I mean by established social media time zones. And then maybe periodically, you can't do this very often, but periodically you could just have an offline retreat where you say, all day today, I'm just not going to be attached to it, and I'm going to let it go. And so maybe it's, you spend a day out at the lake with your family and do some fishing or whatever it is you enjoy doing out there with your family. And you just leave all your phones in the car and you don't fool with them. And you know what? The world's going to keep rocking along even when we don't have our phones in our hands. It's still going to roll along. And so sometimes we need a little break and just take some time away from it and just let our minds clear and get back connected to life. So those are things about being still. And then what are we going to know? Because here's the other part of this, be still and know. Well, what are some things that we'll know if we can be still and start implementing some of the first things? Well, here's the first one. We're going to know ourselves. Now, let me encourage you in this. I think social media and the world we live in breeds a spirit of competition in all of us. And sometimes, because social media is so readily available, we kind of convince ourselves we can do it all. Because we see these other people on Facebook one minute and they're on Twitter the next, and they're on Instagram the next, or they're sending, and we think, well, if they can do all this stuff and keep up with life, I can too. And the truth is, there are limits to how much every one of us can do in this room. I've got limits and you've got limits. If they'd have called me from the aerospace division of the engineering department and said, can you talk to our students about aerospace engineering? I would have had to say, I can't do that. I'm not equipped. That's my limit. I just don't know anything about aerospace engineering. As much as I might know about how to look up NASA through a Google search, I still can't speak to aerospace engineers because that's my limit. And so when we get still with ourselves, we begin to realize, I've got some limits, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. But we also may realize when we're quiet and we look within ourselves, we may always also realize, but I can do some things I'm not doing, and I'm pretty good at it. And you've got some gifts and abilities that you've been given, and you should never ignore those. Be the best that you can at those. You've got a ceiling somewhere out there, but you might not have ever reached it. So when you're alone with yourself, it's a chance to do some self-evaluation. What are my limits? What do I not need to be doing, because I'm not skilled in that? And then what can I be doing even better, because I haven't maxed out my potential that I've been given. And so I think only when we're quiet and we look within and we know ourselves will we know the limits and the ceiling. And then here's the next thing I think we'll know. We'll know our priorities. We'll know our priorities. Everybody in here, myself included, I'm going to put myself in front of this list. I get my priorities mixed up every day. And I end up doing the things that I really didn't plan to do. And that to-do list that's most important, at the end of the day, I just have to restart with it the next day because my priorities have been skewed. And I haven't taken time to sit down and think, what is most important today? Now, I do like to listen to a podcast, and I've been listening to an audiobook by Henry Cloud, Dr. Henry Cloud, and the book's title is Necessary Endings. And just as a brief push for the book, because it's good, there are endings that we all have to make in life. Sometimes we have to end friendships. Sometimes we have to end family relationships if they're going south and they don't work out. Sometimes we have to end business partnerships. Sometimes we have to end a job and go to another one. And there are necessary endings, and there's a process we should follow to make it redemptive or to make it positive for us and the other people that we're breaking free from. And so that's kind of the gist of the book. But here's something he says as he's talking about leadership. And I think all of you are potential leaders in this room. If you're not, you can be. And so he's talking about leadership, and he's reminding us in this quote, and I'm going to read it for you, that leaders get sometimes so busy that they don't have time to think about what are most important in terms of priorities. And here's how he stated it. With email and the speed of information flow, we literally have too much to process and work on. You'll probably agree with that. I feel that, and you do too. With high-level leaders, this is an issue that I see increasingly as time moves on. They are overwhelmed as leaders. And so then he turns the question in the book and he says, how's your inbox? Whether that is a reason or just an excuse, often more time than we realize goes by since the last time we took the vital signs of what is most important to us. We've not stopped and gotten still in a long time to think about what are my priorities, what's most important. And so as a result, we can't focus on priorities, and that creates a lack of urgency energy. Do you ever feel like, oh, I don't want to go to work today? Oh, I'm dreading this. And we lose our enthusiasm because we're not working on the priorities anymore. We're working on these side issues. And it's only in the quietness when we sit down and think for ourselves, what are the real priorities that only I can do, that we realign with those things and we get energized because we're like, hey, this is what I'm skilled at and I'm excited about this today because these are the real priorities of my life. And so that's the next thing. And then here's the final one, our soul. That's what's going to happen when we get quiet is we're going to actually get back in touch with our soul. Remember, that's kind of where I started. We're connected to our world because of social media, but we're disconnected from our souls. And when we're quiet and still, we get reconnected with our soul. I do like to listen to podcasts in addition to books on tape. And I got a lot of information here. I'm going to give you the summary of it. Carey Nieuwhof is a Canadian who does a leadership podcast. It's primarily for preachers and ministers and people in ministry. So you might not find it really interesting. But he was interviewing Mark Batterson recently. And Mark Batterson is a pastor in Washington, D.C., and he's written a lot of books that are really popular. They're bestsellers in the Christian world. And so they were having a conversation back and forth. And Mark Batterson brought up that he's just released a new book just a few weeks ago. And in that book, at one point, he quotes this guy, Gordon Hempton, who's an audio ecologist. I'd never heard of that before. And what Gordon Hempton did is he went out and he tried to look through North America and find the quietest places. If he could find a place that had 15 minutes of silence, during the daylight hours, he was going to include it as one of the quietest places in North America, but he could only find 12. Like, he did all this research, and there were only 12 spots where he could find locations that had 15 minutes of silence or quietness in North America during the daylight hours. And so one of the reasons he wanted to do this is this Gordon Hempton, and this was Mark Batterson quoting him, he says quiet is the think tank of the soul. And a lot of people are not connected with their soul because they can't find anywhere quiet. There's nowhere in their world that's quiet. And so as a result, they're always struggling, and they never really get content. And so I think it's when we be still and know that we can get back to what our soul is saying to us, and it allows us to work through that. So if you remember, we're plugged into our world. Remember, we're plugged into our world, but disconnected from our soul. And is there any hope? Well, there is. Be still and know. Be still and know. That may be our key for all of us, is to find some places to be still so we can know ourselves. And so I've got the second part of the exam now. All right, get your sheet back out if you don't mind. And remember, we had 8 images. We're going to leave them up about 10 to 15 seconds. And I want you to mark how these strike you in your feelings. And we've got the same responses: stress, dread, time waster, or refreshed. And here are the photographs that I want you to take a look at. Here's number 1. Here's number 2, spending time with family. Here's number 3, fireplace. Here's number 4, just a good group of friends. Here's number 5, just a park bench in a park. Here's number 6, just a good old walk late in the afternoon, early in the morning. Here's number 7. That may be trouble since we're at Mississippi State and y'all have Starbucks here, and I just picked something from the city. And here's the final one. So, how did we come out on those? Anybody feel stressed about those pictures? Other than the family, maybe you've been through Thanksgiving and let's be real, Christmas is coming. Family could be stressful. Which one was most refreshing of the group?
I like
There's
the,
several.
Go ahead.
the woods.
You like the woods?
Yeah.
With the Eno or just the, okay, all right. Anybody else got one? Yes? Reading in front of the fire. All right.
I like the wall.
The walk? All right. Anybody else got one? What's that? The bench under the tree. Anybody else got one? Different set of pictures. The first set is what our world runs off of. The second set is probably what connects with our soul. Because that's what we're all longing for. It's just the chance to be with those that we love, to be quiet, reflect, and enjoy life. And this is how it's kind of summarized everything I want to say to you. If you got questions, I can take those, but here it is. It's important for all of us, myself included, to unplug, to maximize our potential. I really believe you're all leaders. and you can do great things for this university and great things for our city, and I want you to. But you got to detach some. Can't detach completely. That's kind of foolish thinking. But we've got to detach some to be able to maximize the potential of who we are and what we've been put here to do. And so maybe between now and Christmas, I know it's going to be hectic. Find some little ways to do the things that we talked about so you can unplug at least every once in a while. All right? Anybody got a question real quick? Want to ask? If not, we'll be finished. Hey, look at this. This is what I love. I'm right on time. That's how I know when I go over. When it gets to red, I'm in trouble. So I'm right on time.
I just feel more relaxed having looked at those pictures.
Good, good.
I mean, really, and when I walked in and I looked around and I said, out of the entire university, this is how many people think going to something on unplugging is important enough to take an hour out of their day. I think that kind of says a lot about the level that we run on all the time. It's really telling to me.
Yeah. We value work, speed,
Right.
never stopping. But the reality is, for our soul, we've got to stop.
So thank you.
Well, I'm
Reminder.
glad, well, this is Mr. Darrell's idea. So
Yeah.
thank him. Thank him. Anybody else? Question, thought, comment, encouragement to everybody else? If not, Mr. Darrell's going to come down. Anybody need more candy? Because we got plenty in the bucket. I don't want to have to, if I take it home, I'll have to eat it and share it with
I
them.
was going to say, we got a little something for you
Oh,
on behalf of the,
thank you. I appreciate that.
absolutely. Let's give Scott a hand.